All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 411 of the Restoring Rapport podcast. This is a podcast for young believers who are pursuing the goal of marriage and family and trying to get married as young as possible in a healthy way, according to God's design. My name is Seth Hensley. I come on this show twice a week, every week on Thursday and Sunday to discuss not only the benefits of getting married young, but I try to equip and encourage you in your pursuit of those goals. And today, we're going to be going over our 2025 yearly summit and talking about all the things that we've done this year and going over some numbers with you, talking about some things that have happened for the show. This is always a fun podcast for me to record because it's a kind of a chance to practice retrospection and think about the things I've done that have worked and that have not worked. And something I will say that's been a highlight of this year that's actually not going to be on these numbers that we're looking at is the amount of social media stuff that I've been doing this year has been way higher than other years. Honestly, that's where most of my traffic is coming from nowadays. It's not even podcasting. It's not even YouTube. It's social media. And so not that I'm getting a lot of traffic anywhere. I'm not trying to go viral or start trends or anything like that. I'm just doing what I think I should do for the benefit of anyone who has ears to hear, and it would help. And so particularly people specifically who were like me growing up, and not even so much growing up as like people who were like me in early adult life. And so, yeah. But I'm excited to do this. Usually what I do is I talk about just kind of the previous year before we move into what will be season 7 of the show. And let's see here. We started the show in 2020, September. So this will be the 6th year I've done this podcast. So not full years, obviously, but 6, we just started towards the end of the year in September, but still. I put a lot of work into this. And it's not, again, I'm not trying to go viral. I'm not trying to get clicks. I'm not trying to use clickbait. I'm not trying to use trends to, skyrocket my Instagram following or do anything like that. What I'm trying to do is this is kind of a ministry for me because this is the content that I needed to be exposed to when I was making serious decisions about the course of my life as a young man. So, and I know there are a lot of young people today who are in that same spot. And many of those people who are in that same spot are like me. I don't think that I'm an isolated case. I don't think that I'm unique. So I'm simply saying what I needed to hear when I was a young man. And I'm saying it for the benefit of those who are like me and who are young men and women who are pursuing the goal of marriage and family and figuring out the best way to do that. And so I hope you guys have enjoyed all this work I've been doing. A lot of people interact with me that they're not necessarily, I can't really help them because they're way beyond where the age at which I'm talking to. Like, I'm giving marriage advice to young people, and not to like, that's all I can really give marriage advice to because that's how old I am and that's how far I am into marriage. And so I'm kind of talking to people who are in at my season and below, particularly below my season, like behind me, who are coming the same way I have gone. And so I get a lot of people that interact with the show that aren't that description, but I'm just as grateful for you as I am for the people who interact with me that do fit my target audience. So, and I don't want that to get lost in, like, I appreciate you, like, listening and supporting and everything, even if you're not who I'm aiming for. That really does, just kind of incentivize me and make it easier because this is a discipline for me. I'm not doing it because it's giving me money, and I'm certainly not doing it because it's easy to do. I'm doing this as a form of ministry and service to people that I, understand their position. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in and talk about what we've done this year. And hopefully this will be a really, really fun episode. You can see this is I'm going to go through the 2025 wrapped for my podcast this year and just kind of tell you about everything that we've done. It says 2025 was quite the year for you, which I know, and hopefully you know, but you never know. It says a little proof that hard work pays off. Our total audience went up 358% from last year, which sounds like a big number. I think last year it was like, I want to say it was like 70% increase or something. So now maybe that was the previous year. I can't remember, but what I should do is I should go back and listen to all those episodes um, that I did on the yearly summits and compare them, because I know that's a big number for me, because I don't usually have that much growth in total audience, but very interesting. Total new audience is almost at 1,000% increase from last year, which that's awesome too. I didn't realize that. I feel like a lot of my content though is like almost entirely new audience, because what I'm not very good at is keeping, like I can get new traffic and new views, but it's hard for me to uh find, like, the kind of person that I'm aiming for is pretty rare. So it's kind of hard to um I don't know, retain. Audience retention is a lot harder for me than, finding new faces to, you know, talk to. So I guess if that makes sense. But that's still encouraging. It's 999% increase from, my audience and new audience from last year is still great. This is an area where I really suck. See, this is the audience retention stuff. Like this is where the people decide to decide to stick with you. They hear what you say and they decide to stick with you based on what you say. Only 24% increase in followers from last year, which is still something. I mean, I'm not complaining. That's definitely good, but um, it's just different than the other stuff. Like you can see, like if you compare these numbers, 999% audience, new audience compared to last year, and then 358% increase in audience from last year. Total audience, that's very different from 24% increase in followers. So like I'm not keeping the people that are, which I don't necessarily need to, because again, if you're not the kind of person I'm aiming for, then I don't think you should be listening anyway. I'm not helping you at all. Unless you care about me and you're wanting to support me, and then I appreciate all those people, obviously. But yeah, since I had an 18% increase in total listening time from last year, that's also interesting. I know this shocks me a little bit because most of my listening is not coming from podcasting platforms like, Spotify and Apple and stuff like that, but I am on there, and that's what I enjoy the most. So, I always assumed that's what would take off, but most people I find that listen to me they are interested in more of the short form content on Instagram and Facebook more than the long form content on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And this is only measuring, total listening time on Spotify, and I'm sure other podcast platforms, but not social media content. Let's see here. One episode rose above the rest, it says. So this is going to be probably, I would say, my most popular episode as far as numbers go. 300. Oh, yeah, episode 382. If you're not watching this on YouTube, which you probably aren't, you're probably watching on social media. You probably won't ever see this unless you, unless I put it in a social media clip, because that's where everybody's watching. But my most popular actual podcast episode that was done that people listen to on Spotify and on Apple was, and you can probably guess, like, what was the big thing that happened this year as far as people who think marriage and family is a good idea? And if you think for a few seconds, I'm sure you will realize it was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And so when he passed away, I did an episode of kind of overviewing some things that he taught about marriage, and that one performed really well, which just makes sense. I mean, think about how what an impact this guy had. This is what relational networking and just being incredibly good with people gets you. You become like, this guy worked so hard that his death impacted my show, which is totally unrelated from his show. Like that's how somebody was really loved, and what's the word? Just what he said resonated with a lot of people when it came to marriage and family, because it just created kind of shockwaves around the world. It was a major historical event of last year. So that was it. The most popular episode was the part one of Charlie Kirk's marriage advice. So very interesting. It was played 999% more than my average episode. It makes me wonder if that's just the highest percentage they can measure, or why I'm seeing the 999 number so much, or like what is that? It says we're still quoting it. Interesting. That's just flattery, and you're not quoting anything Spotify. I know you. You're lying to me, but it's okay. I forgive you because you have such an awesome little yearly summit thing for me to review here. It says, let's talk video. I did a lot of video content this year, but it was, again, mostly for YouTube. I didn't focus heavily on, well, I take that back. You can watch all the video podcasts that I do on Spotify. If you have internet, you won't use your cell data. But most of the time I don't find people watch podcasts on Spotify, including myself. Sometimes I do, but not much. Usually I watch on YouTube. And so YouTube is really where the video content is going to shine. And that YouTube data is not included in these measurements. So what's encouraging to me is that all these numbers, these increased numbers, they're good, but they're about Spotify and podcasts, platforms only. They don't count social media and YouTube. But my show was in the top 30% of videos on Spotify, and that sounds good. But really, the only reason that I'm up there is not because I create such amazing content that people just can't look away. It's actually that I just create content so consistently that I outperform people who are better at podcasting than me just because they're inconsistent. So like this number doesn't really encourage me a whole lot. Like you can say like, yeah, sure, top 30% of podcasts in the world. That's really nothing because the money makers are in the top 1%. And the top 30%, the only reason I'm in the top 30% is not because I have so many listens. Like I barely get any listens on Spotify and Apple, I think. But the reason that I'm probably in the top 30% is I made more content than like let's see here, 70% of people. Probably more than I probably made more content than like 90% of podcasters, really. Because what happens is in podcasting is I think you got all the top podcasters making content every day because they quit their day job and they're 100% going into podcasting, and they just make content nonstop. So they just make like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of content. So you got all of them up there in the 1%, and everybody listens to them because they always have new stuff up and they're really good at what they do and they've mastered their craft. And then you have guys like me who are really consistent, and we try really hard, but we don't get the click. We don't put enough money into our thing to get it off the ground, and we certainly don't put enough time into our thing to get it off the ground because we have day jobs to support our family. And so we can stay consistent. Like I record every weekend, but I'm not going to come anywhere near the top like 10%. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm not going to approach that tier 1 of podcasting easily. That would be if I quit everything I did, kind of left my family vulnerable to destitution to pursue a hobby, which I would never do. So I probably won't ever see that area now. Maybe I will. I don't know. But that's just kind of my thoughts on it right now. Still good. I mean, top 30% means I was consistent, which I did. I posted an episode twice a week, every week this year. So like 52 weeks, I published 104 episodes is what I've done by the end of this year. So let's see here. By next year, I'll do 104 more. So by, let's see, I'll hit 1,000 episodes by 2020. Let's see here, like 2036 or something. I'll have hit over 1,000 episodes probably, and I'll have kids then and everything. So yeah. In fact, this is my last year podcasting without kids, so we'll see how having kids changes my podcasting rhythm. I might have to shake it up and do it at a different time. Might have to get up early in the morning and do it like I am now or something. So a lot of times I try to do that anyway, so I can spend time with Lainey when she gets up. And still maintain my discipline. But yeah, let's see here. My video episodes were watched 140% more in 2025 than in 2024. That does not, I'm going to kind of ignore that because again, this is just the video content on Spotify and on Spotify, which is nothing. Like almost nobody watched. Like that 140%, like one more person could watch that video episode and it would boost it like 10% or whatever. So I'm not impressed by that number. There's just not enough people watching it for that number to be worth anything. Um, your listening passport got a real workout. Oh, this is going to be where it talks about the different countries that listen to you. And I honestly don't. I'm not trying to start some kind of global thing or anything. So this is never. But I mean, if it helps people, then I'm all for it. So it's really I want to know that the content I'm creating is helping somebody who is like me. That's what I want to know. I don't really want to know. Uh, what's the word? That would be the show would be succeeding in doing what I feel led to make it succeed in doing, if that happens. So I don't know how I feel about this, but 33 total countries were reached overall this year by my show. Now this could be as small. This reach is not like it's not like super. It's not like I went to these countries and did a conference or something and spoke to a large crowd, did public speaking or like some sort of networking and set up events or anything. It's not like that. It's just that somebody from like some, 33 countries listened to my show at some point one time this year. So it's not like, I don't know, this is an okay number, I guess. It's just not the number that I find most interesting. I want to see the followers number at the very top that we went over go up. But my top countries were Nigeria, Canada, Fiji, the Philippines, and the United States. Obviously, the United States. The Philippines, that was probably my brother's girlfriend who was in the Philippines. So I'd say that was who that was. And then Fiji, I have no idea. That was some random person on the internet that discovered my show and watched it because I don't know anybody in Fiji. Canada, I know some people in Canada, but they wouldn't listen to my show. So it's probably like, again, just somebody on the internet who discovered it. Nigeria, same thing. Somebody on the internet just, I happened to be in the echo chamber that they operate in, and so they saw my video. But yeah, it's still fun. Let's see here. Top fans assemble. These are your show made into the top list of many fans. So this is the people like my mom who listen to all my episodes as soon as they come out, and have probably listened to most of my episodes forever. It says I'm a top 10 show for 84 fans. So 84 people listen to my show. It's on their top listen podcast list. So that is more encouraging to me today because that is a little bit of audience retention that I think my show's lacking, is like keeping the same people instead of just constantly, talking to new people. What happens is, I think what happens is you make a clip, a social media clip, or even a full episode, and you publish it, and it resonates with somebody, and so they have a lot of interaction with that one clip. They share it and comment and listen and watch to the end and stuff, but they don't resonate with the rest of the stuff that I say, so that their followership just kind of fades out because I said one thing they liked, and the whole mission of my show was not something they liked, so they didn't stay for the show. They just liked the one thing. I think that's why a lot of people, I'm having a hard time with listener retention. But it says I'm a top 10 show for 84 people. I'm a top 5 show for 49 people. So as this number gets down, eventually it'll say I'm a top 1 show for a certain number. As this number gets down, the number of fans who fall into the category is also going to go down. 49 people I'm a top show for. And then number 1 show for 4 people. Like, this is probably my family right here. They're listening out of sheer loyalty. This is probably like, I know my mom's in this. I know my mom's in this. But this is probably like, I don't know who this would be, honestly. Because Lainey and I know don't listen. Well, actually, I do. I'm actually probably on this list as well because I always listen to my episode in the car to make sure I edit it correctly. So I listen to every episode to make sure it's edited properly. So I'm definitely on here as well. So me, mom, and then that leaves 2 other people. So I don't know who those 2 people are, but thank you, whoever you are. I appreciate it. And then my top fans streamed 10 times more than everyone else, and 10% of them binged 2 episodes in one day. This, I find, is probably somebody who has a weekly routine of listening to both of my podcast episodes that I put out in a week in one day, or perhaps whenever they're driving, and they have a long driving day. So that's kind of what I do too. That's whenever I'm in the car is when I listen to a lot of podcasts. And then let's see what their next number is. It says it goes without saying your fans have great taste. Well, thank you. It says here's what else they're listening to. Now this is gonna be interesting. Okay, this is my favorite part of Wrapped every year, and you sort of got a sneak peek there. If you were on YouTube, you saw some artist faces. I'm gonna get to it in a second. It was this I always because this tells me about my audience. Okay, um, and normally I just get to know them through Facebook and stuff and Instagram and stuff, but this is something that I get a glimpse into their taste as far as what they listen to. And it looks like country, pop, some of this stuff I don't even know. Okay, here's some worship music. So look right here. We've got Morgan Wallen is the number one top artist of my listeners. So I'd say what that is, and I'm just hazarding a guess here. I'd say what that is a little bit of Rock Hill teaching influence coming into this here because uh Rock Hill is crazy for okay, I'm gonna insult all my fans here. Absolutely insult them by doing this, but I'm gonna look up what genre of music does Morgan Wallen sing? And I just insulted half of everyone. I thought it was country, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so I don't actually listen to any Morgan Wallen music. Morgan Wallen music. I'm so sorry for everyone who is never going to listen to my show again because of that. But I'd say for sure what this is a bunch of Rock Hill people who have seen because I'm trying to network with a lot of and build kind of as much relationship as I can with parents on social media now. So I'd say what that is some of them got curious about my show and listened to some episodes, and because they love Morgan Wallen, that's what's influencing this top artist of my listeners. But I've never Morgan Wallen has never been on this list before, so that's very interesting for me. Taylor Swift, I think she is here just because she is so popular that it's impossible for her not to be here. I'd say she's on the top artists of every podcast in the world, even like Joe Rogan or something. Like she's just like everyone listens to Taylor Swift, and so of course she's going to be on the list of your audience's most favorite artist. Because I definitely don't cater to Taylor Swift, and I certainly disagree with Taylor Swift on like almost everything. Like, I don't think she would be very pro. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think she would be very interested in like the marriage and family world and stuff like that. So, maybe I'm mistaken though. I don't know much about Taylor Swift, so call me crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. Forrest Frank, I don't even know who that is. I'm gonna look up that one too. What genre of music does Forrest Frank sing? He does what in the world? I'm seeing gospel, Halloween music, Christian, children's music, holiday, country, Russian pop. There is no way. This is wrong. This is wrong. Um, oh, he's upgrade. He's Christian pop. Forrest Frank. I've never heard of him. I've listened to a lot of Christian music, but I haven't ever heard of Forrest Frank. I'll have to check him out. Zach Bryan. No idea who Zach Bryan is. I'm gonna look the same up again. What genre of music does Zach Bryan sing? It looks like another country. Yeah, primarily country. So, okay, folk. I like folk. So that might be people that resonate with me a little bit more, that actually have my music taste. Because I do like folk. I like acoustic and folk, particularly. Really like that. So Zach Bryan, but he's primarily country as well. And then Elevation Worship, I listen to them, but not all the time. They're not my favorite worship, I guess you call them band or whatever, worship artist, worship content creator. But I have listened to their music before. I think they do really do a good job leading people in praise. I wouldn't call them worship. Okay, I think their name's wrong, honestly, because what they do is praise. What they do is like David dancing and singing before the Lord, and like verbal recognition, verbal worship. So praise. using your voice to glorify God. That's what they do, and sing about His goodness and stuff. So I think that is really good. But I would say I think elevation praise would be a more, because worship I think is a much more inclusive term that means pretty much anything you're doing that glorifies God, and that could be anything in life. You can do everything in life. Everything in your life can glorify God if you do it properly. And so yeah, I think that's a little bit of a, I don't know about that name, but oh, this is interesting too. Okay, top audiobooks for people who listen to my show. Okay, this is good. This is really interesting. Christ Centered Dating by Mark Bollinger. Now, I have reviewed, that was the number one top audiobook for listeners of my show. And I have reviewed Mark Bollinger before, and I loved his take on 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And I don't see many Christians have a good take on 1 Corinthians chapter 7 as far as dating and the importance, or not dating, sorry, as far as getting married and the importance of getting married, and how most people are probably designed to get married and live a sexually upright life within the context of marriage, and can't really do so in any other context. I think he has a great take on that. I would love to listen to this book. I probably need to, especially since you guys are listening to it. I definitely need to. That definitely needs to be on uh, my audiobook listening list. The Chronicles of Narnia. You know what? I'm not even gonna complain. I actually listened. I'm probably part of that because I listened to the Chronicles of Narnia complete audio collection last year. I listened to all the unabridged Narnia books by C.S. Lewis while I would walk and play Pokemon outside and stuff on my summer break. So yeah, I love those. Love those books. Absolutely amazing. This one though, this one's really piqued my interest. Christ-Centered Dating by Mark Bollinger. Definitely want to check that out. I've never heard of it or read it. I didn't even know that he had that book, but I do know who Mark Bollinger is, and I've reviewed him a lot on the show. And he's one of those that I'm not critiquing so much as I am like saying, this guy's awesome, you need to listen to him. The Thyroid Reset Diet, that has got to be my mom. Just kidding. I have no idea who listens to like the health people are, but my mom would definitely fall into that health person kind of book listening genre. She listens to like spiritual health and mental health and physical health books like a lot, I think is how I would describe her listening. Swing Time by Zadie Smith. I have no idea what that is. But some of you guys liked it because it was in the top audiobooks selection. And then The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling. I don't know that one either. The Man Who Would Be King. Sounds interesting. Sounds like something I would read. If it's, I wonder if that's like fiction or. In fact, I'm gonna look that up. Like, let's see here. The Man Who Would Be King book genre. Okay, adventure fiction, political fiction, Lost World. Very cool. Yeah, I think I would like that. The Man Who Would Be King, story by Rudyard Kipling. Very cool. I would probably like to listen to that. The top shows that my people listen to. Here's again, like it's getting dominated by popular shows. Like I don't I don't know that I've ever reviewed Joe Rogan on my podcast. Like I don't think I ever have reviewed Joe Rogan. I don't really know much about Joe Rogan. I know that he's just from a podcasting perspective, he's like the best podcaster in the world because he makes more content than anybody and he does it really well. And he gets more views than anybody on like Apple and Spotify and YouTube and stuff. But like again, this is like the Taylor Swift thing. It's like the only reason Joe Rogan's up here is because literally everyone listens to him, except me, evidently, because I don't listen to Joe Rogan unless he interviews somebody that I really really like. Which honestly has not happened much. I think I have reviewed a Joe Rogan this year. It was the Wes Huff interview. Wes Huff went on there and gave a biblical defense for Scripture and how Scripture has been uncovered and translated and turned into the modern Bible we have today. And he did an awesome job on that. And he kind of just shared the gospel from Joe Rogan's podium. And so I went and listened to that episode. Thought it was really interesting. This is a Korean show. Okay, my mom has to be some influence in this too because my mom loves Korean culture, loves Korean content and stuff like that. So this is probably my mom. And I don't know if I think that is Korean though. Actually, I don't know the kanji well enough to know what it is. Could be, I think, oh gosh, I'm displaying my ignorance here. I don't know what language this is, but anyway, the Tucker Carlson show, again, I don't know anything almost about Tucker Carlson. I have never listened to Tucker Carlson. I mean, I've seen, okay, I take that back. I've seen interviews with him. Some of his interviews I like, some of them I don't like. Um, but some of you guys, at least some of you guys like Tucker Carlson. So very interesting. Let's find out. I don't know who this guy is either. The Let's Find Out podcast. Uh, maybe I would guess. Let's see what genre of podcast is let's find out. Let's find out. Whoa, where'd it go? Hello? It just kicked me off. Let's try it again. There it is. Okay, what genre of podcast is let's find? History and education. History and education and ASMR and relaxation. Very interesting. History and education and ASMR and relaxation is the Let's Find Out podcast. Very interesting. I should check it out. History and education. The Sean Ryan Show. I have never heard of this either. So I have literally never heard of 3 of these podcasts that you guys love, and 2 of them I never listened to. But I need to check out what this one is too. The Sean Ryan Show. The Sean Ryan Show genre. Let's see here. Talk show. So he has a talk show, like philosophy and stuff like that. Okay, I listen to a lot of this genre. I haven't heard of his specifically. So very interesting. Everybody runs in such unique circles on the internet, and I'm probably in the minority here because all these podcasts, you probably, if you listen to podcasts, you might listen to these more popular people. I listen to kind of obscure people who I think do a good job creating solid content and giving evidence for their claims and stuff. And these guys probably do that just as good, but I've just never heard of them because I'm in a different echo chamber and circle on the internet than you are. But the Sean Ryan Show, very interesting. Let's find out in the Sean Ryan Show. I don't know anything about these people, but that's what Google says. It says, okay, you might want to frame this, but I don't know what it's talking about. It says, a 2020 rising star. This year, your show's growth outpaced 94% of other shows. Now, this I do find encouraging, particularly because this growth is not even including or counting the growth that's happened on YouTube and social media, which has been our largest amount of growth for sure. So, and again, but one of the reasons that my show is outpaced 94% of other shows, I would say, is because of consistency. Like I record every single week. I record, and most people, the top people outpace me because they record every single day. And that's why they're making so much money. And I can't do that because I'm not going to risk my family's security for a hobby pursuit is what I'm not going to do. But it was a 25 marathon show. It says fans listen to you for longer than 81% of other shows. This I also find encouraging because I think what mostly happens with my podcast is people just kind of get on there, click to see what I'm talking about, lose interest in 5 seconds, and never listen to me again. And just assume, oh, he's making the same content that he was last time I heard and wasn't interested. But it says that 81% listen to me for longer than other shows, which still could mean that they clicked off within the first 5 seconds or like first 5 minutes or whatever. And that no podcast in the world, or at least 80% of them are the listeners are leaving that quickly. But I don't know. I would like to think that I could actually break down for you the average. In fact, I might do that. I might go on the podcast analytics that I have and show you guys kind of how long the average person listens. It says a 25. This is actually probably getting incredibly boring. I just realized I'm probably going to wrap it up pretty soon because you guys have now been listening to me talk about the podcast growth this year for like 30 minutes. So I'm probably going to wrap this up soon. I probably won't do that, but thank you for your loyalty here. I'm just kind of, this episode's pretty much more for me than anybody else because I'm just kind of reflecting on what I need to do different. Here's what you should use this episode for. You need to go on social media or YouTube and stuff, whatever. I don't care where. Could be social media, could be YouTube, could be the podcast platforms themselves, and comment or reach out to me somehow, reach out to the show and say what you want us to do this year and what we did not do enough of and stuff like that. That's what I need to hear from you because that will influence kind of the decisions that I make as far as the show. Eventually, what I'd like to, I just built this new studio in um, the new house that Lainey and I got, and I have sound panels everywhere, and that's why hopefully the audio sounds really good. Um, but I eventually want to have a room where I can have people into my home to interview them live, and that's going to be an expensive endeavor because you got to get like a podcast switchboard that can go cut between cameras based on speaker. You've got to get 2 cameras. You've got to mount these cameras. You've got to set the room up right. You got to get your lighting right. And so it'll look really good if I can eventually do that, but that's just very expensive, and we're having a baby soon, so I don't know. We'll see. It says you received more comments than 78% of other shows, which again, I don't really place much weight on this because I'm pretty sure we only got like 2 or 3 comments on the podcast platform or on the podcast platforms this year. Again, we get tons of interaction on social media and stuff, but this I don't think this is measuring that unless I'm mistaken. So I don't really place much weight on this. That just means people aren't using Spotify to interact with their content creators at all. And so, yeah. And so that's it, guys. That's it. That was our year in retrospect. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And I thank you so much for all the support you've given the show. It means the world to me. And I hope that you're just not supporting out of loyalty, though. I hope that you're actually enjoy listening to me. And hopefully engaging in, a dialogue and conversation with me, because that really is the weakness of podcast platforms. It's just kind of a one-sided conversation. Like, I want to hear what you think too. And I've been trying to, engage with people online to get that to happen. But yeah, you can only do your best. And it's just not set up for you to have success in that area. So, but definitely give any way you could. Like, I have several ways set up. I used to have a voice message system set up, but Spotify took that down. So now if you want to send me a voice message or a text message, you got to go through Instagram or Facebook, which I check every day, and I'll see it really fast. I have a lot of people that I talk to on there, so I'll get to you eventually, probably very soon. Unless I'm with my family or something. Like, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna put myself a time limit on it or anything, but I'll get back to you on there. And then the show on YouTube, if you comment there, I usually find out a little bit later, but I will respond to you and stuff. And so that's fine as well. Just kind of any way you can, reach out to me and let me know give me some feedback on the show, what you like, what you don't like, what we could do better, what we're not doing now, that kind of thing. Yeah, would appreciate it. And it would make this podcast a conversation instead of a boring monologue. I say that at the end of every episode to try and get people to listen, but most of you probably don't even get to that point in the episode because you've already clicked off, which is fine because almost everybody doesn't make it to the end of podcasts anyway nowadays. But thank you for listening. Appreciate you for being a loyal listener for this year. 2025 was awesome. 2026 is also going to be awesome. It's going to be my first year podcasting as a parent. I mean, I'm a parent now technically, but I'll be taking care of a newborn during this coming year. And so, yeah, I appreciate your prayers on that. And also just listen to find out how it's going. Appreciate you. Thank you for listening today. God bless you. And I will talk to you guys next time.